How does someone hide 9 rare cars when cameras camp outside every doorway? In 1976, a Hollywood actor got a real New York taxi license and worked 12-hour shifts for taxi driver. Today, I'll show you 9 rare vehicles Robert De Niro owns that you've never seen before and the one that nobody gets near.
Tell him to get a Honda! Hey, he just said it. He's the boss.
Number 9. GMC Yukon XL. Robert De Niro has been photographed stepping into a GMC Yukon XL in New York. That fact alone tells you his garage runs on privacy, not flex. People expect Ferraris, yet he shows up in full-size SUVs like the Yukon XL and the Escalade ESV. Both are huge, both sit high, and both let tinted glass do the talking. You can carry luggage, kids, friends, and security in one trip, which matters when sidewalks turn into camera traps. The Escalade is a New York celebrity shuttle because it looks ordinary until the door closes. Here's what I keep thinking about. Why would a movie star choose the same kind of ride that corporate drivers love? The answer sits in the details: big doors, tall seating, and a heavy body that feels steady in traffic. You can slide in without a crowd seeing your face, and you can slide out fast when the door opens. GQ España has pointed out this practical pattern in his fleet, and it fits how he moves. He plays loud characters on screen, but off screen he protects time like it matters. Look closer at those garage doors and you miss the real story. One vehicle tied to him came from real street work, and it still haunts every car scene he does. Want proof? The taxi driver cab is the key. Number 8. Checker Cab. In 1976, Robert De Niro obtained a real New York taxi license for taxi driver. He drove real shifts so the movie could feel real. He worked 12-hour shifts around Manhattan for about a month, and the car under him was a Checker Cab, the boxy workhorse that owned 70s streets. Think about that choice for a second. He could have stayed on set, yet he chose traffic, strangers, and late-night fatigue. Imagine you slide into the back seat after midnight and your driver stays quiet, watching you through the mirror. Some passengers recognized him, others talked freely, and he soaked up every pause and rant as material. That is the part people forget. The research came from real conversations, not a coach. On set, that cab turned into a tight little stage. The door slam, the slow crawl past Times Square, and the way he held the wheel all came from repetition. When the character finally clicked, nobody else could sit in that seat without breaking the spell, so he kept it to himself. Here is a quick detail I love. The cab was cramped and uncomfortable, which helped him play trapped anger without pretending. That 1 month behind the wheel changed how he handled vehicles in later films. Wanting to see where that training turns darker, the casino car bomb scene answers it for him too. Number 7. Cadillac Eldorado. In Casino, the opening scene puts De Niro in a Cadillac Eldorado before it explodes. That car choice ties straight to a real 1982 bombing in Las Vegas. The film shows the Eldorado gliding through the city. Then, a parking lot blast turns it into fire and twisted metal. Martin Scorsese mirrored the attack on Chicago oddsmaker Lefty Rosenthal, who survived a bomb planted under his Cadillac outside a Las Vegas restaurant. The movie uses that moment to say money can buy style, but it can also buy enemies. Car fans freeze that shot and ask what happened to the wrecked Eldorado after filming. People love the rumor that the studio offered De Niro cash or tried to give him the car as a keepsake, yet the hard truth is simpler. It stayed a production asset and became scrap and trivia. That decision fits his off-screen habits. He acts inside dangerous worlds for months, then he walks away clean when the camera stops. A burnt Cadillac shell would have been a loud souvenir, and loud is the one thing he avoids in real life. So when brands later came to him with real cars, they pitched quiet power instead of violence. One company even used him to sell an electric crossover that looks harmless. Want to guess who Kia shows up with a plug today? Number 6. Kia e-Niro. In 2018, Kia hired Robert De Niro for a European campaign featuring the Kia e-Niro. The goal was simple: make an electric crossover feel normal and trusted. The long-range e-Niro version carried a 64 kilowatt-hour battery and reached up to 485 kilometers on the WLTP test cycle. Under the floor sat a 150 kilowatt motor, about 204 horsepower, plus 395 newton meters of torque that hits instantly. If you've driven a gas SUV for years, that silent shove can feel weirdly strong because the car moves without the engine drama. In the ad, De Niro joked about range and battery anxiety, acting like a guy who wants to get home, not impress anyone. That tone matters because it matches the cars he gets photographed using in real life. Practical shapes, big cabins, and low attention. People online assumed he received a free car and a check, yet whether he kept an Niro stayed off the record. Why keep it quiet if it was a simple endorsement? Because a visible celebrity car creates noise, and he keeps noise on screen. The Niro story also sets up something funny. GQ España points to a different daily driver in his fleet, a Cupra Ateca that looks even more ordinary, and that choice says a lot about fame. Ready for the dusty car that gives him away on camera? Number 5. Cupra Ateca. Spanish GQ lists a Cupra Ateca among Robert De Niro's cars. It comes with about 510 liters of boot space, which already tells you it is an errands vehicle. Depending on the version, the Ateca tops out around 190 horsepower, and you can get front wheel or all-wheel drive. That is not a supercar spec sheet, so why would a famous actor keep one around? Because it looks like a neighbor's car, and that is a powerful disguise when you live in paparazzi territory. Here is where his own words click. In an interview, he warned that when things go well, you should stay calm and never think you sit on top of the world. He also said, everybody is dispensable, which sounds blunt, but fits a man who has seen careers rise and fall fast. A dusty Ateca matches that mindset. You can park it on a side street, walk into a restaurant, and nobody forms a crowd around the badge. It blends in, and blending in is the luxury he buys. Still, he keeps one exception that breaks the rule. GQ also points to a Maserati Gran Turismo in his fleet, and that car has real speed built in. So when does he drive the Italian one, and why hide it so carefully? The Trident badge answers that in a very quiet way for him. Number 4. Maserati Gran Turismo. GQ España points to a Maserati Gran Turismo sitting in De Niro's fleet. In Trofeo trim, the latest generation reaches up to 550 metric horsepower, which clashes with its quiet SUV image. That power comes from the twin-turbo V6 Nettuno engine, and Maserati also sells an electric Folgore version. Folgore can run 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in about 2.7 seconds with roughly 761 horsepower available, which sounds like a car built for headlines, yet he keeps it off headlines. So why would he choose a Gran Turismo at all? A Grand Tourer is less about lap times and more about real comfort. It has long doors, proper rear seats, and a cabin designed for hours, so it works for slipping out of the city when traffic thins. Here's the part that makes sense to me. Private speed can be the whole point. He can take a quiet drive upstate, enjoy the road, then return without turning it into a photo op. Park it behind an Escalade and it looks like a personal reward, not a public flex. But even a personal reward sits inside a security plan. De Niro keeps getting photographed in full-size SUVs like the Yukon XL and Escalade ESV, and those exact models are popular bases for armored upgrades. Some builds add ballistic steel and reinforced glass. Want to hear how armor shops turn boring into hard to stop? Number 3. Cadillac Escalade ESV. Armoring companies list the GMC Yukon and Cadillac Escalade among their most common base vehicles for protection. That matters because De Niro has been seen in a Yukon XL and an Escalade ESV. Start with a full-size SUV and builders can add ballistic steel, reinforced glass, and blast protection while keeping the outside looking factory. The vehicle stays almost stock, so strangers see a black truck and keep walking. Executives use the same trick because attention turns risky. We do not know the exact protection level on De Niro's own trucks, and he keeps that line quiet, but the logic sits in the platforms he picks. These SUVs already have height, mass, and 3 rows, which gives security teams options for drivers and passengers. Dark tint buys distance, and the long wheelbase helps the ride stay steady even when the vehicle carries weight. If you've ever wondered why a celebrity avoids flashy cars, this is why. A loud supercar invites fans to crowd the door. A black SUV invites people to mind their business. Here's what makes it personal. This protection covers more than him. With 7 children and staff around him, the SUV becomes a moving boundary. Yet the back seat also carries bottles and toys, and that detail flips the whole story. Want to hear the baby detail that changed his mornings? Number 2. SUV XL. Robert De Niro's youngest child, Gia, was born in April 2023. In interviews, he said he bottle fed her while watching Miss Rachel on YouTube. That detail changes how you read his big SUVs. A Yukon XL or Escalade ESV looks like a security choice, yet it also works like a family hauler with wide doors for car seats and a third row for older kids. He has 7 children, and his eldest daughter is Drenna, so the age spread in his house is massive. When he called Gia pure joy, it sounded like relief, not a headline. Picture the contrast. The same man who played violent characters spends mornings measuring formulas and cueing children's songs. That home routine pulls him away from premieres and nights. That shift also explains why he keeps things practical, because parenting rewards calm and punishes chaos. If you've ever tried to buckle a baby seat into a small coupe, you know the struggle. A tall SUV lets you lift and click without twisting your back, and tinted windows help a baby nap without strangers peering in. Those are the boring details, but they are the real reasons. So the quiet family car here is the same big SUV doing softer work. That leaves one question. What does he want at the very end? He has joked about his gravestone line. Number 1. Checker Marathon Taxicab. In a People.com interview, Robert De Niro joked that his gravestone might read, "I tried my best." He said it while talking about parenting, and it lands differently when you think about how he chooses cars. He framed it as a parenting standard, not an acting award, and that says plenty. That line sounds simple, but it explains a lot. He does not treat vehicles like trophies, he treats them like logistics. If a car helps him work, stay safe, and keep family life moving, it earns a spot. If a car exists only to show off, it creates noise, and noise is what he spends his career controlling. Look at where the rare cars really live. The most famous rides tied to him are on screen. The Checker Cab and Taxi Driver, the Eldorado and Casino, and the Chase Machines in Ronin. Those vehicles carry his characters, not his private identity, which is why fans keep searching for a hidden garage tour that never arrives. His real cars live in shadows, doing work without applause, which makes the movie rides feel even louder today. So if you came here expecting supercar flexes, his garage flips the script. The most interesting thing he owns might be the decision to stay uninteresting. Now ask yourself, which car would you hide if the whole world kept watching? If one of these cars surprised you, tell me in the comments. If you want more secrets like this, tap the next video on your screen right now. Stay curious.